The Bernabeu has fired 3 managers in under 2 years. But that's not really the story here. The real story is simpler and scarier for Real Madrid. They've run out of new ideas, so they've gone back to the one manager who never had this problem in the first place. Quick context, because you need it before we go further. Ancelotti left in 2024 after winning the Champions League. He moved on to coach Brazil. Real Madrid replaced him with Xabi Alonso, a rising tactical mind fresh off an unbeaten league title at Bayer Leverkusen. Alonso lasted 233 days. He tried to build a system where the team mattered more than any individual, and Mbappe publicly ignoring one of his in-game instructions was the moment that broke him. Alonso was gone within a day. Next came Alvaro Arbeloa, a 42-year-old with zero senior coaching experience, promoted from the youth team because nobody better wanted the job. He lost to a second division side in the Cup, got knocked out of the Champions League by Bayern, and finished the season trophyless. He was never meant to succeed. He was a placeholder. 3 coaches, 2 different approaches, same result. The club's biggest stars outlasted both of them. That's the AAA madness, and it's the reason Florentino Perez is now bringing back Jose Mourinho, the one manager who, in his first spell at this club, was never the one being managed. So here's the actual question. Can he do it again? Let's talk about who Mourinho actually is, because a lot of people remember the trophies and forget the method. From 2010 to 2013, Mourinho won a La Liga title, a Copa del Rey, and a Spanish Super Cup. But what made him different wasn't tactics. Plenty of coaches had good tactics. It was that he never let a dressing room decide who was really in charge. He clashed with Casillas. He clashed with Ramos. He didn't care. The team came second to his authority, every time, and he was willing to burn relationships to prove it. That's the opposite of what just happened with Alonso, who tried persuasion and lost. Mourinho doesn't do persuasion. He does control. Now, here's the complication nobody's talking about enough. This isn't the same dressing room he left in 2013, and it isn't the same dressing room Alonso or Arbeloa inherited either. This group just came out of a World Cup, and it didn't treat all 3 of Madrid's stars the same way. Mbappe had the tournament of his life. 10 goals, 4 assists, a second golden boot, and he's now the all-time leading scorer in World Cup history. Bellingham scored 7 goals for England, the most ever by an Englishman at a World Cup, and helped them to their best finish since 1966. Both of them are walking back into Madrid as conquerors, with more global leverage than they've ever had. Vinicius is walking back in with none of that. Brazil went out in the round of 16, their earliest World Cup exit since 1990, and their 28-year wait for another title just got longer. He's not returning as a hero. He's returning bruised, and probably more sensitive about his role at the club than he was before he left. So Mourinho isn't just managing egos. He's managing 2 players who feel untouchable, and one who feels like he has something to prove. All in the same room, all needing completely different handling at the exact same time. This is where it gets genuinely difficult to predict. Mourinho's method has always worked best on players who need direction, who respond to being told exactly what their job is and having no room to argue. That's probably good news with Vinicius, who might actually benefit from a coach who gives him total clarity about his role again. It's a much bigger risk with Mbappe. This is a player who already ignored one manager's instruction on camera without consequence. Mourinho's entire identity is built on never letting that happen twice. If Mbappe tests him early, and given what just happened with Alonso, he might, Mourinho has to win that confrontation completely, or the same pattern repeats itself with a bigger name attached. And that's really what this comes down to. Alonso lost this job because he tried to make the system bigger than the individuals in it. Arbeloa lost it because he never had the standing to make anyone respect him in the first place. Mourinho is being brought back because he's the only one of the 3 who has actually beaten a Real Madrid dressing room into submission before. But he did that with a different group, at a different age, in a different footballing landscape, one where players didn't yet have this much personal brand power, this much leverage. this much ability to outlast a coach simply by outlasting the news cycle. So, can Jose Mourinho make Real Madrid great again? Probably, if the old method still works on players this powerful. And that's the real experiment here. Not whether Mourinho has changed, but whether modern football has changed too much for him to win the same way twice.